Okay, in this next segment, we're going to talk about end wall and sidewall. Now, for our mock-up, we're going to do both of these because at our corner, the sidewall and end wall are going to meet. Now, end wall, panels end into a wall. This would be the end wall. Sidewall, panels on the side of a wall. This would be sidewall. Okay, you'll see that we have Zee closures at the end wall. Now, what this does, it will make this weather tight so the wind cannot push weather up in. We have butyl sealant tape under the Zee closure. We have butyl sealant tape on top of the Zee closure. Now, the sides, you've got to use a gun grade. We have a urethane, 1 part urethane sealant that from the back side, you'll caulk the Zee closures on the sides to make the sides so weather can't get up in the sides of the Zee closure. Now, when you're anchoring these Zee closures, you'll typically have 3 screws, 1 on either end and 1 in the center. Now, we have this smaller piece here because we're extending our end wall to go under the sidewall. Now, we did not screw this piece of Zee closure down because it's sitting on the panel. And again, you do not want to fix the panels. It's okay to fix them here, it's the top. So they need to be fixed up at the high side. This, you do not want to fix it here. It's going to try to move and you're going to have some buckling and bending. So what we've done, we have our hold down cleat that we've extended down on top of the Zee closure with sealant. Now we've got a screw back here that has held this Zee closure down. Now when we put the end wall trim, we'll screw it in also. So between the butyl sealant tape, this hold down cleat, and the screw through the top, will hold this little small piece in. Now you remember that when we put, this is the first panel we had for the valley. Now remember when we bent this up, that's why we had that piece bent up, was so that this cleat has something to grab a hold of. Now one thing else to keep in mind, you need your 1.125" to 1 1/4" so that you can fit this in here, very similar to when you did your gable. Okay, now I've got a piece of end wall. This is the end wall, WE-W1. Notice it has an open hem on the bottom. This hem hooks over the Zee closure, just like this. Now, another thing you want to remember, anytime you have trim on top of each other, just as we did with the valley, think about the flow of water. This is the sidewall. You want the end wall to be under. The water's coming this way. If you have this on top, can you see how the water can flow under this piece of trim? Always want to think about how you're layering things so the flow of water doesn't get under anything. Okay, well, Steve's going to take that. We're going to start with the end wall trim since that's going to be on the bottom. Now again, you've got the hem. You want to hook that hem over the closure, just like that. Now we've got our sidewall. Now what we've done, what I would recommend doing, is cut you a little 12-inch piece and figure out how you want to bend and do some of this. Each instance is going to be a little different, so you got to put a little thought. And the best way to do it is to just trial and error. Now also, we have some bends on here, what we like to see or we recommend. Anywhere you have a cut, give yourself a little extra so you can bend that around and have a hem. It gives you a nice finished edge and you're not looking at a cut edge. So this is going to go in. Now we've created an open hem there that we're going to grab the end wall trim. Now that's what we've got. Now the water comes here. This is underneath, so the water is free to flow and out it goes. We're sealed under here with the small Zee closure. We're sealed under here with the full-size Zee closure in the panel. Now when you're anchoring this, the end wall trim, the WE-W1, every 12 inches, even though you've got it hemmed, you still want to put a screw every 12 inches to hold this in place. You also screw every 12 inches, a face screw. Now the sidewall trim, you'll put a screw every 12 inches in the face. Don't want to put any screws. You've got water traveling in here. Just face screw that. Now don't worry about some of this stuff. What you want to worry about is this plane here. You're going to have siding. You're going to have outside corners that are going to cover this. Now we also like to lap these as well. The water, we have one under the other. We don't like to have anything open here. Now that's a sidewall end wall.